Frimpong's official. Give me your initial reactions there, Shaka, as he will be the replacement for Trent Alexander-Arnold.
My initial reaction is almost like for like. Frimpong gets up and down that right hand side with the same kind of fluidity as Trent Alexander-Arnold. I have the same concerns of around Frimpong as I did around Trent Alexander-Arnold in terms of defensively. While he's a real handful going forward, I'm not overly convinced that he's an out-and-out defender, and he can play anywhere down that right-hand side. I still have some concern around end product. At times, I think he's a little bit loose with his final pass or final cross, whatever it may be. But that will come. That's less of a concern. So it's for me as close to like for like in terms of Trent Alexander-Arnold moving on and Frimpong coming in.
Yeah, based on our reporting, by the way, from Beth Lindup, our reporter, Liverpool, the fee's approximately 35 million euro. That's about close to 30 million pounds. It's not bad. It's kind of a good deal, right? And sources tell ESPN, by the way, that Arne Slot is obviously consider him as a right back, but maybe even more going forward as well, especially when Mohamed Salah has to do AFCON and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good purchase, especially for that fee.
Yeah, at that price, absolutely. And as I mentioned, you say the same exact things about Trent Alexander-Arnold and his ability to operate anywhere up and down that right-hand side. I see this as exactly the same.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, there's still a lot of business that Liverpool want to do this summer, because I think the object, obviously, for Arne Slot is they're not just satisfied with competing for the Premier League, Champions League, etc., and continue to build. Staying with the Premier League, by the way, let's go to Arsenal, I believe, because RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko, the forward, a very talented young man, 21 years old. There's reportedly an 80 million release clause that might even be pushed up. But reportedly, the club might hold out for, RB Leipzig might hold out for more, depending on the variables of payment. But Sesko is an interest for Arsenal as well. What do you make of that one? 21 years old, forward, RB Leipzig, maybe to the Premier League and Arsenal.
Typical Arsenal signing in terms of age, in terms of profile. It's certainly a need in terms of striker. We've been seeing that for the last couple of seasons. The price, if there's a release clause, I'm not sure what Leipzig, what legal standing they have or what mechanisms they have at their disposal to try to ask for was it 93 or 95, whatever it is, they kind of trying to push this price through. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. My concern around Sesko is, well, without question, talented, young, and a prospect. He's coming off his worst scoring season for the last 3 years for Leipzig. It just seems an odd time. Not from an Arsenal perspective, but if you're Leipzig, why are you so determined to push your price at this point? Or maybe this is about Arsenal. What is your incentive for going so much above what may be his market value, kind of given the season that he just had? That's my concern around Sesko to Arsenal, and it's more to do with the price tag and the season that he's just come off. But this is a need for Arsenal that they have to address, that I'm not sure that there are many options for them in addressing. So we see where this one goes.
Yep, it's a need, and if it happens, well, Arsenal fans can't complain that they've made it happen. And Martin Subimendi, by the way, the Real Sociedad midfielder, maybe as well on his way. So Arsenal also are dealing. Let's stay in London here, but let's go to West London and Chelsea, going here now for the 30 million release clause that's been accepted for Liam Delap, the Ipswich Town striker. We obviously know how talented he is, and he fits the criteria as well, I think, here. Shaka Hislop, young, eager, knows the Premier League, strong, dynamic, will be a nice complement to Nicholas Jackson, who obviously, very talented, but, missed a few chances here. Delap seems more of a old school center forward. What do you make of this purchase, obviously, as it materializes?
I think it's a good price for a player who may yet prove to be a squad player in Liam Delap. And this is the thing for me. I'm kind of on the fence with this in that if you're building a team to challenge the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal and probably Manchester City again. I'm not sure that Liam Delap is the striker that you have at the pinnacle of your attack. But if it is about consolidating Champions League every single season, then without question, I think Liam Delap does that job, and I say that with confidence because I think Liam Delap is a better striker than Nicholas Jackson has shown himself to be in the second half of the season. Nicholas Jackson was outstanding to start the season, and then just has faded this calendar year. I don't know, injuries played a part, but he kind of regressed to the Nicholas Jackson that we saw in his first season at Stamford Bridge. Liam Delap is a better version of that, no question. So it improves Chelsea in that regard. But does it move Chelsea into the department of, yeah, we're going to have, the likes of, as I mentioned, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Manchester City looking over their shoulders? Not for me.
Yeah, not to mention, by the way, that we're talking about a Chelsea side who, by average starting 11, the youngest team in Premier League history. There's a lot that they have to deal with now with Enzo Maresca now having Champions League football. So this is a very big, task to do in 2025, 2026. But Liam Delap does fit their criteria. Young, 22 years old, scores some goals. We'll have to see how that follows. But I agree with your point about how, this is a squad now that Chelsea have to deal with as they have continental football, Champions League football next season. Let's move on, by the way, everybody, to Manchester City, because Man City obviously went through ups and downs, but at the end, they got their Champions League football. They're saying goodbye to Kevin De Bruyne and Morgan Gibbs-White. Nottingham Forest, Morgan Gibbs-White, reportedly a massive target. Now, reports, actually it's not even reports, but real sources are saying now, obviously that in order to replace Kevin De Bruyne, you don't do it just with one player. You do it with a few. And obviously Morgan Gibbs-White, nobody can really replace what De Bruyne has given to Manchester City. Morgan Gibbs-White does fit a lot of the characteristics, but we'll have to wait and see. What do you make of this acquisition, if indeed it happens? And Morgan Gibbs-White, who obviously wants to be part of Thomas Tuchel's England side for the World Cup as well. But what do you make of this acquisition if it happens, Gibbs-White to Manchester City?
I think Gibbs-White is an incredible footballer, and I like it. I like it as a signing. That being said, it being kind of painted in as a replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, I think is doing Morgan Gibbs-White no service at all, and that's the last thing he wants to be seen as. He's not. And he more than anybody does not want to see himself painted in as that player, as the player that's brought in to replace Kevin De Bruyne. So I'll say this: as a signing, I like it a lot. I think he's an outstanding footballer and will serve Manchester City well. As a replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, no, he's not. It's that's not happening. So if I were Gibbs-White agent, I would be calling up all my mates in the media and saying, please stop using that as a describer of my player. It's not helping at all.
Yeah, my worry is that, we have seen what happened when somebody like Calvin Phillips, for example, went to Manchester City, and there was obviously a requirement for him to be a certain kind of player. It didn't work, etc. Morgan Gibbs-White is a tremendous talent, and what he has done for Forest is so good. But part of it is because the system of Forest fitted him so well. City is a different animal. And to your point, as I also said it, nobody replaces De Bruyne. It's about trying to cover that position and see what happens there. All right, let's end it with the west side of Manchester, who did not have a good season at all. Manchester United, obviously 16th, nothing to really call for. Ruben Amorim needs to really do a lot of business here this summer. Manchester United know it. Matheus Cunha, the Brazilian, did well for Wolves. This one's interesting to me, Shaka Hislop, because there's a lot of context behind it, but he reportedly has an $85 million release clause. That's no small change here. Cunha, who fits well as sort of an inverted forward, maybe as a false nine and maybe a 10. What do you make of Cunha? Better for United than Cunha, I would say. I mean, obviously Cunha is a very good player. I'm sure the suitors will come around. But what do you make of this if it happens?
I think it's a good signing for both. I think Cunha could do with this move to a club like Manchester United and the platform in terms of size and visibility of the club that it offers Matheus Cunha. And Manchester United need that striker, need somebody to as their point man. It's between Zirkzee and Højlund, it just has not worked for them, and they need somebody who with a little bit more experience can lead their attack. While truth is as well, this is who Manchester United are, and this is the kind of player that Manchester United has to go after. We are talking about a club that finished 16th in the Premier League, that does not have any European football next season. So even the likes of attracting Liam Delap, who we spoke about, and by all accounts weren't on Manchester United's radar, but Delap choosing Chelsea. It's a difficult sell for Manchester United right now. Cunha is an improvement on what they have. Does it move them into the let me see how I phrase this, into the arena that their fans think they should be in challenging for top four and worrying the likes of City, Liverpool, and Arsenal? No, it doesn't. But I think Manchester United are a long way away from doing that.
Yeah, and by the way, our producer Mark, Manchester United supporter, by the way, wanted to remind me that they came 15th, not 16th.
Was it 15th?
A million apologies, Mark, and Manchester United fans. How dare I suggest that you
overachiever, Manchester United, you overachiever.
Yeah. Okay. Please, they want to put that on the wall. We came 15th, not 16th. That's going to be a banner for them. But anyway, before we go, I should also mention, by the way, the reports, of Bruno Fernandes being an interest by Al Hilal and Ruben Amorim saying we don't need to sell Bruno Fernandes or make money. Well, there's no Champions League football, there's no European football for Manchester United. You're going to have to make money somehow. Hence the Asian tour after the Premier League. But Bruno Fernandes at 30 years old, Al Hilal are willing to offer a lot of money here, Shaka Hislop, for his services. What do you make of that?
The trouble is, Bruno Fernandes has been Manchester United's best player for some time, and while you welcome the cash if he is sold, I'm not sure how you replace him. I'll be honest, I'm not sure I trust Manchester United to replace him. Kind of given the disappointments of some of their signings recently, I'm not sure I trust them to get a player in who can carry the burden that Bruno Fernandes has for the last couple of seasons. So that's the thing for me. Right now, if it were me, and it's not my money, quite clearly, I'm sticking with Bruno Fernandes. I can't allow him to leave just yet until at least I have better pieces in place, and pieces in terms of scouting, player identification, and just in terms of the culture of so much around Manchester United behind the scenes. Until that's changed, until that's proven itself to be better at bringing in talents at a reasonable price and getting the best out of them, I can't sell Bruno Fernandes.